What does your family do that you didn't realize was bizarre until later on in life? Share one hotel room for 7 people. Didn't realize people could afford multiple hotel rooms. Still, some of the best experiences of my life. This sounds like a Boyle family trip. My wife's family used to pass around a Tupperware full of vitamins after dinner, like just random pills as if they were mints. We don't refrigerate leftovers. Pizza goes in the oven. Turkey from Thanksgiving, oven. Fast food, microwave. Now that I'm older and understand that food goes bad, I refrigerate things, but my parents still don't. I'm surprised no one's gotten seriously ill from it. My dad is like that. He'll leave boiled hot dogs and all kinds of food out even if there's a lot of fridge space. There was also an E. coli outbreak at a local river and he told me how he doesn't believe in that stuff. At Christmas, we all give each other a set of underwear, which once you receive you have to say, "Oh thank you" really loudly, stand up, then put the underwear on your head to show everyone. I had to have a serious conversation with my wife after her first Christmas with us. Your dad was the dad of all dads. We have an old microwave that is installed above the oven that hasn't worked for years. Realizing how much it had cost to get it fixed, we just bought another one and now use that one to store junk food. Ours stores lids to all our pots. So, my family are huge lovers of mango, and especially my dad. So when it's mango season he'd buy a lot of mango and we'd all sit around and eat mango in our underwear so we wouldn't ruin our clothes. I thought this was normal as a kid. I even enjoyed it a lot too. But it feels pretty freaking bizarre now. Although I think the worst part is that I'll probably do the same thing with my kids, lol. My brother has a weird allergy to mango where he can eat it, but if the juice touches any of his skin, he'll break out into an awful rash wherever it touches. So many childhood memories of standing in the backyard eating mangoes whilst my dad sprayed my brother with the hose. Growing up, when my family made tacos, they always put that orange wishbone French dressing on them. I didn't realize this wasn't a thing until I went to a friend's house for Taco Tuesday with her family and I asked for French dressing. They looked at me like I was crazy, lol. Mum always just used hamburger with garlic, salt and pepper, and tomatoes and lettuce and American cheese. We put ketchup on them. Dad didn't like spicy food, so we essentially made cheeseburgers with tortilla shells. I still request this. My wife thinks I'm insane, but she puts mayo on hers. My family has been using a Langer's apple juice container from probably like 1997 to fill up with drinking water and put into the fridge. Still has the front label and everything. That was back when they used more plastic, so it's very sturdy, but we still use it today, lol. My immediate family, we don't fight. There might be minor, polite disagreements, but shouting at each other arguments? Nope. When I got married later, my in-laws were constantly at each other's throats. It was so alien to me. Like, you actually hate each other? I couldn't cope. I felt the opposite way when I saw my friend's family discussed problems with rational thoughts, not screaming. Okay, so, my mom was a pretty crappy parent. She didn't really teach me a lot and I was left alone most of the time. Most of the things I learned was from my cousin because she paid her to watch me while she would go to work or BS face somewhere IDK. Never took me to amusement parks or anything. It was all my cousin. Anyways, as a kid I firmly believed in Santa Claus. And that was because my mom didn't buy me crap as a kid. It was always my cousin getting me things and taking me places. And for Christmas I would always get really good things. Like, I would get a PS2, games I really wanted, a stereo, etc. Things I knew my mom couldn't afford, nor want to spend on me despite the fact she made at least $700 a month disability money because I am disabled. Anyways, for those reasons I firmly believed in Santa Claus, and I remember vividly kids in middle school telling me it was my mom and I 100% did not believe in them to the point I started crying about it. All the cool gifts were from Santa as well, BTW. All the gifts my mom would get me were socks, shirts, etc. My mom also reinforced that Santa was real. Heck, I believed in the tooth fairy for the same reason, since I'd get $5 every tooth I lost. Fast forward to just recently-ish, I'm 26, and I find out all the gifts from Santa were from my cousin and her mom. They would give my mom gifts for me every year, and every year my mom would take off the name tags and replace them with Santa. I even remember her telling me how specifically my cousin and aunt didn't get me any Christmas gifts while growing up. I feel like she felt inferior or something because my cousins cared more about me and got me expensive gifts. When I grew out of the Santa thing, I actually believed my mom got me all those gifts and was using my disability money for them. Cause like, every year I got a crap ton of good stuff. It now makes a lot more sense. My cousin always knew what stuff I liked, cause we liked the same things. I even remember the year I got a Gamma Cube and how whenever I'd go to her house I'd want to play her Gamma Cube to play Harvest Moon. And that Christmas, what game did I get with my Gamma Cube? Harvest Moon. I never told my mom I wanted Harvest Moon. It was only my cousin that knew. So I fervently believed it was Santa that knew I wanted it through magic or whatever. Really crappy that my mom did that to my cousin and her mom. But this isn't even the shittiest thing she'd done. I could write a book how terrible a person she is. I really hope you're still in contact with your cousin and especially her mum. These kinds of people deserve to be recognized, especially since that's not why they would do it. Kudos to them. My dad loves corn on the cob. One summer he was such a fanatic about it, we ate it every day for 3 months. I am an adult now, and don't go near the stuff. Bet it sounds like a popcorn machine whenever your dad takes a dump. We pretty much never had sit-down family meals, and if we did it was from a restaurant. We ate in silence, and then we'd just wander off from the table one by one to watch TV or go on the computer or something. It's not that we hate each other or anything, it's just pretty much the way it's always been. My family is usually quiet while eating, and we joke around how everyone is quiet only when eating. Everyone in my family genetically has large hands and long arms, and I thought it was normal to compare arm and hand sizes at every family event. LMAO. Nice try, Donald. When I was younger we would go to my grandparents' house and my grandpa told my cousins and I that if we put fireflies under rocks the next day there would be a quarter waiting for us. Like a tooth fairy for fireflies. I used to try to catch as many as I could and put them under rocks around his yard and collect my quarters the next morning. Told this to a few people years later who looked absolutely horrified. Apparently not everyone's grandpa supports squishing fireflies under rocks for a quarter. Probably trying to keep the kids out of the adults' hair for a bit. Also, if you squish a firefly on your skin it still glows a bit. We have the blue binder. The blue binder lists all sorts of aches and pains and tells you what emotional or ancestral issue is causing that pain. Have seasonal allergies? It's because your dad never forgave his father. Sprained your ankle? It's because you have a fear of moving forward. Your right hand middle finger hurts? It's because you have penis envy. My mom still swears by this and thinks I contracted Lyme disease at 21 because of trauma in the birth canal. Spoiler, I don't talk to that psychotic lady anymore. I thought everyone who celebrated Christmas had a whole 3-day celebration starting on the 23rd of December. You see, we have Ham Day, 23rd, Turkey Day, 24th, Christmas breakfast, 25th. We also get together New Year's Day to eat pork chops and sauerkraut. That idea isn't so weird, but the part that gets me some looks of disgust is when I mention how we pour maple syrup on the sauerkraut. Interestingly enough, my family is neither German nor Canadian. On a genealogical level, we are overwhelmingly Scandinavian. Also, we live in north central West Virginia near Pennsylvania. My parents sleep on different beds since I have memory, not because they don't love each other, they don't love themselves as a couple anymore though. My dad snores very loud, so it's a no-no for my mom. My parents always had separate rooms. My dad snored and had a weird schedule. My mom required good sleep. To keep me from watching too much TV, my dad told me that we had a 1-hour limit on our TV viewing. As in, we paid for 1 hour of TV per day and any more than that we would be charged extra for. Like AOL back in the day. When I started going to friends' houses where the TV was always on I got a bit suspicious, but I just figured they had more money than we did. Eventually after watching TV for hours and hours with one friend I asked her how much TV they paid for and she just looked at me like I was nuts. So I guess lying to your kid because it's easier than getting into a fight over a rule you want to enforce is the bizarre thing my family did. LOL. If he is still alive, Turn off his TV every hour and tell him you want to help saving money. My parents call doing a load of laundry a Xenon. Example, my mom will ask my dad to do half a Xenon if she means just put the stuff in the washer in the dryer and don't start a new load. Or a full Xenon is moving everything over, folding stuff in the dryer and starting a new load. They got tired of saying all that and it's always been a Xenon. Having no shame with being nude. At least in America that's weird. Granted, my father was not wandering the house nude as he has all daughters, but my mother, zero fricks to give. My sister, mom, and I just have no shame. I'm eating breakfast. Mom wanders into the kitchen naked to do her neti pot thing. I'm trying to take a bath. Here's mom or sissy trying to have a conversation. Walk into mom's bathroom, literally every door leading there wide open. Mom taking a bath. Stop and have a chat. Same with my sister. I've had so many dang bathtub conversations with my sister and mom. Also my mom's total nonchalance about being naked around my best girlfriends. No, they weren't uncomfortable, she asked or warned them, she just wanders around naked sometimes. So now I'm just always naked in my own home. Blinds open or not, I literally just don't even notice. Being nude is just my inherited natural state, lol. My mother would call us in to tell us stuff while she was in the bathtub. When I was younger, my whole extended family, except the ones in Germany, would share a farm together and go there on the weekends. We would spend the whole day weeding, raking, other chores, and goofing off outside. And at night, we would eat only potatoes and gravy, and the men would drink beer. After that, all of us kids would go into the living room and watch VHS tapes of adult movies that were probably too inappropriate for us to be watching at that age. We would do this until 11 o'clock, while the adults talked and played games, and then we would all go home, as my grandmother and grandfather were the only people who lived there permanently. That farm has been in the family for a long time. I think that sounds awesome. My mom would let me and my brother run around naked for about 10 minutes before our bath, around ages 2-3, so we wouldn't want to take our clothes off in front of company because she read that some toddlers do that, but creating a time to be naked stopped it, I guess, and she didn't want to risk it or something. And she also would give us our popsicles in the bath or shower until we were about 4 so she could just hose us down and we didn't get everything sticky while eating them. Okay, those things actually make sense. My father has ichthyosis. When I was a kid I would help him remove dead skin from and apply lotion to his back. I mean, I guess I knew not everybody did this, but never realized how weird picking your dad's back and lotioning your dad seems to the outside world. That is super nice of you to help him. I don't think it is weird. When we watched movies, we would discuss what was happening, what we thought of the characters, or just random things that we thought of during the movie. When I would watch movies at my friend's house, they found this very annoying and I didn't realize people just sat in complete silence for 2 hours. I have since broken the habit, mostly, but when I meet up with my family it's the same as it used to be. Oh, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. I love to get completely immersed in the story and can't do it when someone's constantly chattering. My mom and I are terrible people, so we would make up tragic stories about the people around us at restaurants. I went on a date with a guy once and the food was taking forever, so I figured, let's play the stories game. Not only was he mortified, but he said, "What would your mom think if she heard you talking about people like this?" And I said she'd probably agree that the dad is cheating on the woman. He looks like a cheater. We'd get along, you and I. We call the TV remote the buttons and we always have like it's normal, so when I would go to friends' houses and we'd watch TV I would say, "Hand me the buttons," and they had no idea what the frick I was saying. Cult crap. I didn't know it was a cult until I became an adult. Grew up in a Christian group. They had their own church and school. I wasn't allowed talking to people from outside both church and school my whole childhood. Even neighbors I got in crap for. This is the kind that teaches you homosexuality is evil, Pope is evil, Obama was evil, Trump is evil. Frick, I got a detention for using female hair products because it was gay, and that was 2011 in Canada. I was crappy, I guess. At the time I tried to kill myself with a bottle of whiskey. My parents' response was to ground me for life because I went and partied. I told them why I did it. They sent an elder from the church to talk to me, and the grounding remained. They had their own businesses too, so at 16 you'd work and get paid normally. For the church folk, being an adult, I left it, but I had no clue just how sheltered it is and how crazy sheltered I was as a kid. 20 is when I got away, and it was like this magical adventure world where nothing was like it was supposed to be. Thanks to my dad, up until the age of about 8 I thought that music only consisted of Cat Stevens, Queen, the Eagles and Supertramp. He didn't even listen to the radio, and I pretty much had no idea anything else existed. LOL. In our house it was James Taylor, Jethro Tull, the Eagles, and Steely Dan. Not brushing teeth. We were never taught to actually make a habit of brushing our teeth growing up. Our parents didn't either. We used to get shown those fun educational videos in school when we were kids. The ones with the big cartoon toothbrush who tells you how to brush your teeth. But I never took them seriously. I thought toothbrushing was just something people on TV did, not an actual, real thing. Until my first sleepover with a friend, around 5th or 6th grade. We were getting ready to go to sleep, and I looked at her like she was crazy because she was actually brushing her teeth, and she looked at me like I was crazy because I wasn't brushing my teeth. I didn't have many sleepovers as a kid, so I just put it down to sleepover weirdness and carried on not brushing my teeth until I started getting tooth pains in my late teens. Went to the dentist. He asked when the last time I'd brushed was, and I swear he nearly fainted when I answered. Safe to say I brush my teeth now, and then BSP. But a less gross one, maths. When my siblings and I were little, our mother used to make up maths worksheets for us to do. She'd sit down and hand write a bunch of real simple, we were kids, maths equations down, give us a sheet each, and just let us work through them. It wasn't forced or anything, though. We never had to do it, but we wanted to. It was like a game to us. We'd ask her to do it for us. I didn't realize that not everyone's mother would do that, or read to them each night before bed. Even my first teacher commented on how much further along my reading was than the other kids when I first started school. I thought this stuff was standard, until I started talking to other kids about it, and realized nobody else in my class did it. These are both great answers, but I am having so much trouble reconciling them as being about the same woman. My family will use each other for their own needs and argue, fight and act like nothing happened the next day or even a couple hours later. Apparently not a lot of families do that and still spend time together. Speaking multiple languages in the house. Both my sister and I grew up in Budapest, and our mum is very much multilingual. Around the house we'd mostly speak English, but with occasional phrases in Magyar or Slovak. Up to this day my mum still asks what time it is in Magyar. Needless to say, it was a bit of a shock to my stepfather, and he's given up on trying to adapt. My family is super close, and the house we grew up in, the core of it all connected. So the living room to the hallway to the kitchen to the dining room to the living room. We would turn music up super loud and just chase each other in a circle, hitting with big pillows and all that fun stuff. It was amazing. I'm 21 years old today, and not long ago I realized we used to butt check when we were playing or just being playful. We would grab the back of each other's pants, pull down just enough to expose some booty, and yell butt check. We thought it was hilarious. Till that's weird as frick. Eating Zana Poluka and actually enjoying it. It's basically a traditional Polish soup made of duck's blood. Really tasty. My school lunch lady used to make it. It was the only days I ate on campus. When I was a kid we opened all of our Christmas presents after dinner on Christmas night. All of my friends opened them Christmas morning, or sometimes even Christmas Eve, but we waited with all of the family including grandparents and aunts and uncles and the whole fam dang. Dinner was eaten, dishes were done, drinks were served, and we all sat together for several hours and opened Christmas presents. I don't do that with my own family now, but I do kind of miss that tradition. Instead of getting the splinter out of my foot with a needle or something freaking normal, my dad would just take out a gigantic butt knife. Ironically, he doesn't have a big toe. Talk about sex. My mom and I can talk openly about it, not specifically about our own sex lives, but sex in general isn't taboo for us. It is for most people and their parents. Mine too. My mum and auntie will make filthy jokes all the time. Me and my sister used to be so embarrassed, but now we're adults we all joke together and it's hilarious. I recently made an accidentally vaginal looking pot in ceramics class and it fueled the group chat jokes for weeks. A gelatinous quizzo. At get-togethers, my mom would pour it onto wax paper and cut out shapes. It was like eating jello jigglers, but each one was about 4 servings of quizzo. I just gagged. Growing up, I would stay at my grandmother's house 3 nights a week while my mom taught night school. I wasn't allowed to turn on the bathroom light because it might cast shadows on the window and the neighbors would see the shadows when you moved and know that you were in the bathroom. I had the opposite. I thought we were weird for mixing brown gravy and mac and cheese. Worked at a grocery store for a while and tons of people came through the deli just to get brown gravy and mac and cheese. That definitely sounds weird to me, but at the same time, I definitely want to try it now. My dad cooks green beans the following way. Canned green beans only. Frick that fresh crap. Empty can into pot. Put 4 tablespoons of butter and a bunch of seasoned salt into pot. Boil for a while. Serve. The first time I had fresh grilled green beans I thought that they were stale, because they had texture and weren't soft enough for a newborn to eat. Too real. My mom's style was similar. Canned French style green beans. Milk. Butter. Salt. Boil. Serve. We always named the family car. My parents still do this, and I've carried on the tradition, but my partner thinks I'm nuts. Hahaha, awesome. We do that too. We name every car. Too funny. As a young child, I was the eldest of 4. On Christmas Eve, we all got new nightwear, a small glass of British sherry and a Hamlet cigar. I felt so grown up. Yellow light bulbs in the outdoor fixtures. Dad said they kept the bugs away, yet the light those yellow bulbs gave off was ghastly, and there still were bugs buzzing around them. P.S. Enjoy your cake day, OP. I used to think it was normal for my dad to yell at my mom until she started crying. Learned very quickly that my friends had parents who not only loved each other but also my friends. When my parents have a dispute over some random bit of trivia they bet who is right and look it up. The price they bet on? Getting to gently bite the other one's nose. Yes, I have no idea either. For a stretch of time, my wife and I would constantly be looking for opportunities to bite each other's noses. It started one day because she asked for a kiss and I faked her out and went for her nose and bit it, and then we just kept doing it back and forth. It got to the point where we would have to be on guard at all times. It was all out, nose biting war. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.